When you have a student under your charge, you have to protect him, you have to teach him, so that he doesn't have to be born again in this material world. Such a commitment is given to us by the grace of our spiritual master, because this is the real subject. People nowadays, they go to universities and then they go out and say, oh, I'm a teacher. But a teacher of what? The school system doesn't even know what to teach. That's where the problem begins. So we are very happy we meet so many teachers, but what are they teaching to the humanity? So my point here today is that his marriage life cannot be taken serious enough. It's never just a little notary statement of material responsibility. That's also, according to a true follower of the law, he is in front of the law. He is committed to look after the person he marries and makes children with, so that it's definitely also there. But our commitment in Krishna consciousness is so far, far, far superior to that we cannot even really take notice of such mundane arrangements very much. They are more or less meaningless for us, even though they are not actually meaningless, because they are included in the spiritual package anyway. The spiritual package of Vivaha Yagya. That spiritual package is, without exaggeration, a contract of the maximum importance in your life, because the contract with the marriage partner is a contract with Sanatana Dharma. It is a contract with Supreme Personality of Godhead. You may sign a contract with Volvo and it may be finished. You may sign a contract with the post office and it may be finished. You may assign a government job, it may be finished. But when you sign a contract with a woman for joint marriage and bringing up children, that is irretractable. Plus, it even goes into further lives. It's a contract you can never get rid of. For example, if a man becomes a shameless guy who just abandons the family and says, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to look after my children, I'm not going to give money for them, I just do something. He thinks, oh, now you got rid of a problem? No. Now you really got a problem, because in case the man abandons family and then the wife fares disgrace for some reason, financially or whatever disgrace may happen to her, that man gets the gun. That man who once promised, I will protect you. He may say, oh, blah, 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 she's at fault. No. Oh. It's a little bit my jet lag time. Like I was 4 o'clock in the morning, I was right awake. But with jet lag or without jet lag, this subject I got in my heart because I've already married to more than 1,300, 1,500 people, couples. I've not counted them, but there's plenty. And I know what it means. This is not a contract with me. It's a contract with the Lord in your heart. It's the highest contract. That you say, oh, you have to sign your contract, but you have to go to Stockholm and sign it in front of the president of Sweden. You would feel well. You have to sign it in front. But when you sign something in your heart, in front of a Vaishnava, it says you're signing, your marriage is in front of Krishna. So you have to pull it through. And you have to learn what that means. It's always easy to say the other is at fault. But actually marriage means both have to learn so much. It's an adventure, a marriage. But you see the children. They're handmade by Krishna. The children are not accidents. Every single gene in their body is there pre-programmed to teach you to become a good father and a good mother. And to teach you a whole lot of other things. And of course you try to teach them as well, but come on to sit with us. Are they cooking still?
They really need to help.
They need 2 helpers?
Yes, really much.
So nice. Okay. Hare continues. Chaitanya! No, Kala, you stay. 2 people he asked. Otherwise we end up all in the kitchen. And nobody's in my class. So, these children are really a piece of art. And what kind of piece of art? I mean, they will be crafted by you. What does that mean? I mean, if you're married now, you know, in front of the children, if you fight, you really deserve a good spanking. That's nothing you do. I mean, you may have different opinions about different things as couples. It doesn't matter that you always think the same, right? But regardless whether you think the same or not the same, you always have to show the children be pulling on the same toe into the same direction. Otherwise the children have their karma as well, no doubt. Everybody's with the karma, but you see the adventure of the adventure of marriage life is when you have problems, you have to search out for sadhus. It's good for you. Good for you if you have some marital problems. Because then you have to go to a sadhu and you have to surrender and you have to say, okay, what am I doing wrong? And of course you cannot generalize what people do right or wrong, no? That you don't know. You have to study it, listen to it, see the impact. Have a big competition. Can you please convince them to do that behind the house? Their high kindness. So, by Krishna's grace, He has given us a chance to have responsibility ourselves. Now look, we have a lot of grihastas here. Vishwanath just come from Switzerland, 2 children, 1 child. Brahma, 1 child. Sita, how many? 3 children. You 2. You 4.
Together.
4. You 2. That's 1, 2, 3. You know, only here we are sitting here, the few people, we are representing the life of almost 25, 30 kids. So it's a very relevant issue to talk about and to make a sadhu arrangement. For example, even amongst the devotees, you know, I tell people, you know, I'm a very busy guy, but I tell people, I want you to fight for your marriage minimum 10 times with the help of the Guru. Or the help of the Guru, or the Guru may put somebody else to help you, no? Doesn't mean that he has to always be there, but he has to know there's crisis and he's finding help for us. And if it then after 10 attempts still doesn't work, maybe the Guru says, well, better they form separate lives. We have to get more benefit out of that. That's also possible. Why not? Some circumstances are just too much. But in general, everything can be worked out very easy. Because we have to have more culture, more religiosity for our blood. Well, I tell you a story. One time I was in Italy. I was with a bunch of grihastas and a bunch of devotees from South America. And the Italian grihastas, they have a certain tradition that they look quite well after their family. Of course, there must be exceptions also, no? So the devotees from South America, they ask, what's the secret? How they're living 30 years with their wives and they still love each other. They still look at each other in the eye and you can see, wow, there's something going on, you know? they share something, no? I said, I will ask. So I asked specifically a group of 3, very trusted devotees, elder devotees. And they stuck their head next to other and started talking. Then they said, we have the answer. Then, but we are in doubt whether we shall tell it. No, I said, you must tell it. What is the conclusion? Then they said, whatever she says, just say yes. And then the family is. Now, if you're really unlucky, she's not a devotee and she don't want to serve Krishna and she's competing with Krishna, that may also be there. There may be several special situations. But in order to avoid a problem, just say yes. And there's no problem. I mean, if you're in a temple, it's a little bit a question of authority also, no? If you want to be happy in the temple, just say yes. President says do this, do that, do this, you just say yes. And everybody thinks you're the greatest devotee. Just by saying yes and by trying to do your service. Authority is something that's relative and the absolute. We cannot say that every woman is the absolute authority, but a woman stands for welfare for the family. So the most likely she will always make decisions which will be good for the family. And if she's favoring Krishna over the family, then it's not that bad either. not really something which you could consider really problematic. Now, what to do when people don't get along? What's recommendable? Well, first of all, they have to use the system delay to avoid friction. When you're upset with your wife or with your husband about anything, just write it on a piece of paper. Then next day you read it again. And then the third day you read it one time more and says, okay, she has to know that, otherwise our relationship will be scratched. Huh? Then you humbly say, Mataji, I didn't want to give you any bad time, but this is something really puts my heart in trouble. And you give it to her. And see. And vice versa, of course. Husband, wife. So first of all, if you just obey that principle, you never have a verbal exchange fight there anymore. Because you have to write. Maybe you write a few folders full of. Depends on how much desire you have for writing or reading. But it's the best system. But if you simply say yes, then usually there's nothing to write after that. So we want this for our children, you know. It is not, you know, in a zoo, they have the elephants tied to very painful irons. The elephant is such a powerful animal, but because of these painful spikes everywhere, he surrenders to this miserable guardianship. So we don't want that, no? We want our partner to feel free and to grow. So we know we have to give him certain amount of certain space. It's absolutely true. But either the one thing or the other has to be done anyway. So Krishna has created the world in such a way that there's a lot of freedom. So I don't really see a problem in that freedom. Only as Krishna gave you freedom, but your husband wants to take it away. Or your wife wants to take it away. But this is something to remember. God has given us the freedom, so we also have to give freedom, love and trust to our partner. This is also necessary. What did you do? You hurt yourself? Did he hurt himself or
more than his
hurt
pride?
his ego?
Yeah, his pride is hurt.
He got a kick in the mouth.
Well, that's hurt. Examples. So, family is a real good training. It's a love test. Every day is a love test. When Brahmachari comes to me and says, I want to married. I said, do you really know what you get yourself into? Are you really sure you want to do that? But then from there on, it starts the test. If you become a temple president, you have to pass so many heavy moments. The Grihasthas should also make meetings amongst each other and help each other out. Women should talk amongst themselves and gain strength. Sacred womanhood is very high in the Vinda family. We respect this very much, that the women are very sacred, very important in our family to exist and also to grow. So there's no need whatsoever to think that there's an authorized version of minimizing anybody in the battle zone. We are all valuable soldiers of Lord Chaitanya. Man and woman, none is ignored. But we are not exactly the same. There's some male psychology, female psychology. Of course this is there. And we are so happy that by passing those tests, we are becoming more dependent on Krishna and more forgiving. Like a family also means there has to be forgiving. There's no forgiving, it's not really family. If the parents don't forgive the children, oh God, the children would be finished. So, this is my prayer on this marriage day. My consolation goes this way, that we should do everything possible to represent Srila Prabhupada in our temples and in our Grihastha homes. And what does that mean? Well, do your best, it means. Don't do half. Do your best. And if you did anything wrong, then apologize. Nothing wrong with making a mistake and apologizing that. Any questions?